The Demigod Games, written and read by Gold and Silver. Chapter 1. The Rules and Reaping. What's Mom doing here? My half-sister whispers. Honestly, I don't know, and it's freaking me out, especially because she's with Aphrodite, I whisper back. There in the middle of the amphitheater is my mom, her spear at her side and her owl on her opposite shoulder. Aphrodite is standing next to her, grinning excitedly, sparkles lighting up her color-changing eyes. Hello, children. Me and Athena have come up with an exciting game for you. Turns out we love the same book, The Hunger Games. Aphrodite squeals, clapping her hands as she bounces on her toes. Everyone gasps. Now don't you worry, you won't actually die, probably. Aphrodite adds the last word as quietly and quickly as possible. But you'll get really close to death. Apollo and Hades will work together to make sure that you survive. There might be some people who, actually die, but don't worry your little heads, she says, sounding like she's talking to a young puppy. Athena rolls her eyes. That will worry the children, my mother mumbles. Anyways, you will be allowed to use your powers, but Perseus, Hazel, Nico, and Thalia will have to dial theirs down, if they even get reaped. That's not fair. We don't have any powers, my half-sister shouts. Athena narrows her eyes. My children should be able to survive with or without powers, she says harshly. My cabin goes silent. My eye twitches and my jaw clenches. It takes every ounce of willpower to force myself to stay seated. I don't need my mother getting angry with me, but my sister's eyes shine with unshed tears. Athena looks at me, analyzing my movements and expressions. I make direct eye contact with her, despite the fear crawling up my throat. How are the districts going to be divided, and who's going to fill in for the Zeus and Hera cabins? One kid calls. The districts will be based on the 12 Olympians. Instead of Zeus, it'll be Hades because we have Nico and Hazel. For Hera, it'll be 2 Roman demigods. We'll have 2 demigods and the 2 demigods not in the 12 Olympians to substitute for the Poseidon cabin. Athena explains. Wait, I'm here. What do you mean? Percy says. True, but my favorite part of the Hunger Games is Everlark, so Percy will be a part of District 6. Granted, Annabeth may not be reaped, or he might not either. But if they do get reaped, it'll be beautiful. A boyfriend and a girlfriend fighting for each other's survival. Just like catching fire, Aphrodite says dreamily.
We are not dating,
Percy and I say in unison. Right, Aphrodite says, waving her hand. You'd still be cute. Wait, who will be the male tribute from District 8, Artemis's cabin? One of the Apollo boys. What about sponsors? The gods and your half-siblings will give you sponsors. Multiple questions were thrown at the 2 goddesses, and they easily answered. It was odd, to say the least, hearing Aphrodite and my mom agree so much. They tend to disagree, being the goddesses of love or wisdom. People tend to believe those 2 subjects are opposites. Admittedly, I tend to lead with my head rather than my heart. It's strange because a wise mind is using both head and heart, yet so many use one or the other. I shake my head to clear my thoughts. I cautiously raise my hand. What's the youngest age for the reaping? I ask. Athena and Aphrodite look at each other, seemingly having forgotten to discuss this. 12, Aphrodite says, while Athena says 7. They whisper to themselves. Aphrodite raises an eyebrow at Athena, and Athena nods. We've agreed on 7 years old, Athena says. That's way too young, I snap, and everyone turns to me in surprise. Excuse me? My mother asks. 7 years old is way too young to participate in the Hunger Games, regardless of whether or not they'd actually die. Aphrodite's suggestion is much better. That's how it is in the actual books, I say, standing up. Other people, mainly counselors, agreed with me. You were 7 when you ran away from home, weren't you? My mother asks coolly. Yes, but I had help from Thalia, Grover, and and Luke. I whispered the last name. Fine. Have the youngest be 12. It's more accurate to the books anyway. Isn't that right, Athena? Aphrodite says. Athena sighs. Right. Now go to bed. The reaping will be tomorrow. We head back to our cabins, and it's clear no one's excited for this. We all love glory and fighting, but the Hunger Games is a little much. The Athena cabin used to have books strewn all across the floor, multiple desks, and the beds to one side. We decided to be a bit more civil. Now, instead of one wall dedicated to beds, they're on both sides. The wall with the door has 2 giant bookcases on either side of it. The brick wall has a desk. The back wall has a desk with another bookcase near it. There's admittedly still books strewn across the floor, but much better than before. As I help my half-sibling settle to bed, I notice there's one more bed than normal. My little sister, Sophia, grabs my wrist before I can slip into my own bed. She has straight black hair with gray almond-shaped eyes. Sophia has a slim body due to her young age. She's only 12 years old and has just arrived at camp. I look in her eyes and they're wet with unshed tears. Her lower lip quivers with fear. Our mother would freak if she saw her like that, but someone walks into the room, and for a split second, I worry it's Athena. Then I see Percy walk in with a blue blanket. He gives us an awkward grin and clears his throat. So, Aphrodite and Athena had me come room with you guys before the reaping tomorrow. No worries, seaweed brain, I say. I turn back and look at Sophie. Her whole body is shaking, and I want to stop the fear that's clearly welling up inside. Percy walks over and kneels on her other side. She glances at me warily, then looks at him. He gives her a bright grin. Hey, Soph. How do you know my name? She says, glancing at me again. Percy laughs gently. Annabeth's told me all about you. She says you're one of the best archers in camp. He says it like it's a secret. Really? She says, her eyes sparkling. Percy nods seriously. Yep, she told me on your first try you shot a bullseye. Then you shot 3 more. Sophia nods. Yep, my mom taught me how to do it before she died and I had to come to camp. That's awesome. Yeah, I miss her a lot, but I have Annie now, she says, turning to look back at me. And I'm scared. I grab her hand, squeezing it tightly. It'll be okay. I'll volunteer for you, I whisper quietly, kissing her forehead. Then you'd be gone, she says. I nod. Yeah, but Malcolm and Lizzie'll be here to protect you guys. I look at them and they quickly nod. All my half-siblings look around Sophia's age and watch me nervously. I can tell they want me to volunteer for them as well, but they don't want to say it in fear of our mom hearing them. I'll volunteer for you guys, I think to myself. I swear on the river Styx. I won't volunteer for the older of my half-siblings because I know they want the glory, or to prove to themselves they're meant to be here. Can you tell us a story? Ethan, one of my half-brothers, asks. Yeah, of course, I agree. I tell them a made-up story, and Percy helps me as well. They all listen intently, locked on the sound of our voices. Slowly, one by one, each of my half-siblings fall asleep. Just in case, I finish off the story. Then I slip into my own bed. Percy follows me, and I smile softly. We're not supposed to be in the same bed, but we do it a lot with our nightmares. After Tartarus, we've been having those traumatic memories shifted and changed into even worse things. It seems unimaginable, but it's true. I wish we were dating, like those books based on our lives. Rick Riordan, Camp Half-Blood's mortal scribe, took some creative liberties to make it more interesting, and our love lives happened to be one of those liberties. Sometimes Percy makes it hard for me to keep my feelings to myself, despite my fear of losing our carefully crafted friendship. He wraps his arms around my waist, and I wrap mine under his shoulders. Percy smells like the sea and his mom's famous chocolate chip cookies. He lays his head in the crook of my neck. I put my head against his chest. My heart flutters, and I'm worried he can feel it against his. This is something nobody's ever seen us do before. It's like something that's just for us and nobody else. I'm scared, I whisper. I've been through Tartarus, 2 wars, poisoned with a knife, but the idea of participating in a Hunger Games terrifies me. They're some of the most brutal things to exist, and they were supposed to be works of fiction. Granted, they were inspired by real-life events, but I feel as though the sentiment still applies. Now Aphrodite and Athena are turning them into a semi-reality. They said nobody would die. Then they added probably. How is that supposed to soothe us when you add a possibility of genuine death? Me too, Percy agrees. But the gods wouldn't threaten us with the genuine possibility of death, right? I mean, they need us for their tasks. Yeah, but we die in those too. This is for their enjoyment. Yes, they said we probably won't die, but that still means there's a possibility. I try to keep my voice down, but my panic is very evident. Percy gently rubs my back. We haven't even gotten
Reaped yet.
Yes, but what about our friends? They could die. And what about my half-siblings? I'm gonna volunteer for all of the ones ages 12 through 14, but the ones 15 and above are still eligible to get reaped. And what about my half-brothers? I lean back to look into his sea green eyes. They're gentle and warm. Then he kisses my forehead. I'll volunteer for your half-siblings who are 12 through 14. The demigods in your cabin are smart, talented fighters and have the best trainer in camp. They have the best chance of surviving. Yes, Hermes, Demeter, and Dionysus kids will have certain advantages, whether that be surviving the wilderness or stealing from the others. But, wise girl, your cabin is well prepared in combat, and I know you've taught them other survival tips. Trust your half-siblings and trust your training. I feel myself start to relax, because he's right. I've trained my half-siblings for quests. What's the difference between those and a Hunger Games? They're given supplies for quests, but for this, they could quickly die due to no given supplies. Your stormy gray eyes always seem to grow darker the harder you think, he says quietly. I feel my heart start to race even harder than before. Percy gently plays with one of my blonde curls. His messy black hair looks even darker against the stark white pillows. I lay in my bunk, my heart hammering against my chest. Please, Aphrodite, please make it so Percy can't feel my racing heart. I pray to the love goddess. Percy moves his nose so it gently rests against the top of my head. Seaweed brain? I whisper quietly. Percy barely responds. Never mind, I whisper as my eyes flutter shut. We stand in a huddle in the town square. In the night, the gods had put up fake town squares for the reaping. Our mother stands in the front between 2 giant glass balls. I glance at Percy, and he gives me a small smile. His hands shake violently. Athena clears her throat, and I turn my attention to the front. Hello, and welcome to the very first Demigod Games. She looks at us pointedly. Some of my half-siblings clap uncomfortably. My lips turn upwards at this, because it shows our defiance against the idea of a Hunger Games. Then she clears her throat once again. Ladies first. She walks over to the ball on the left side and takes out a slip of paper. Annabeth Chase. Her eyes show a sense of satisfaction. I walk up to her with my head held high. All of my half-siblings clap loudly for me. Then my mother walks to the other glass ball. When I look into the crowd, I make direct eye contact with Percy. He does the gesture District 12 does in the Hunger Games, where they kiss 3 fingers and lift it to the sky. Instead of the sky, Percy lifts it next to his head. I smile softly, tears filling my eyes. Athena reaches her hand into the second bowl, pulling out a name. Perseus Jackson, my mother says, her face twisting in disgust. Percy walks up to the stage, and he faces me. We meet in the middle and shake hands. His hand is sweaty, and I look up into his sea green eyes. It makes me realize how anxious he really is and how it matches my own nerves. We are going to be forced to work together due to Aphrodite's obsession with our love lives, but I don't mind. Percy is my best friend, and I'd do anything for him. I know he feels the same way. Being in the Hunger Games together will be interesting, to say the least. I'm not sure whether we'll ally right away, even before the games, or later on in the games. Maybe we won't even ally at all. I shake my head and we leave the town square. We get brought to the Athena cabin to say our goodbyes. They split it into 2 rooms, one section for me and one for Percy. It feels eerily realistic, even if no one will actually die. Sophia wraps her arms around me, tears in her eyes. She refuses to let go until they have to force her out. Then my other half-siblings come in, tears in their eyes as well. They don't want to let go either. It's not until my half-brother Malcolm comes in that I realize why. They're scared. What? I say, blinking in surprise. He smiles softly. They're scared because they've all had you as a camp counselor. They're scared of the idea of you being gone. And there's even a possibility that you'll be gone forever, which is even worse for them. Oh, I whisper. That's why they didn't want to let go. Yup. You'll take care of them? I ask. He nods and gives me a hug. Be careful. I will. I whisper. He leaves the room and tears start to fall from my eyes. I guess I never truly realized how much I matter to my half-siblings. It never crossed my mind. I just figured they viewed me as a leader, a guide. Now I realize they view me as their sister, maybe even a mother. Being a daughter of Athena sometimes makes me forget how to process emotions. It makes emotional realizations the hardest for me. I always want to figure out how to solve something, but feelings aren't something to be solved. They're something to be felt, accepted, and shared. After a couple more minutes, we are ushered into a car. I stare out the window, hoping my fake death is just that. Fake. Thank you, Goldies, so much for watching. Please let me know if you'd like to hear Chapter 2. And maybe I'll make Fanfic Fridays a thing. Who knows, you know? So yeah. Okay. Bye. Love you, Goldies.